I didn't plan to fall for a voice, but that's how it happened. Caught in the thin elevator air between 4 and 5, the cables humming like guitar strings. Her voice had late summer warmth, the kind that turns even a budget question into an invitation to step into sunlight. Are you headed to the client meeting or the strategy one? She asked, balancing a notebook against her hip. I lifted my folder like a shield and said, whichever has pastries. She laughed, bright and quick, and the elevator sighed open. The scent of coffee curled into the hall, and I followed her into the room like the carpet had rolled itself out just for us. I'd been at Essex & Co. 3 weeks, a careful man trying to learn the steps in a glass-walled ballet. Suits trim as commas, ties knotted like promises you intend to keep. I knew how to look the part. I knew how to fill a conference chair and answer a question without revealing the small wild garden I tended after hours. The dresses in my closet, the soft nylon that quieted my nerves, the mirror where I recognized another facet of myself and felt, for a few private minutes, like the lock and key had finally agreed. In the office, I was measured and competent, but next to her, that careful rhythm shifted. She kept her fountain pen poised as though a thought might alight on it like a bird. I'm Claire, she said, offering her hand. I'm Daniel, I said, and she repeated my name once as if tucking it safely away. We left late that night, after 2 meetings turned into a spill of emails that glowed from our screens like urban constellations. In the parking lot, the asphalt held the day's heat. The sky was apricot at the edges like a page left in sun. Without deciding to, we fell into step. Heels clacked, doors thumped shut, someone laughed across the row of cars, and all of it felt like soundtrack. Do you ever feel like you're learning the choreography as you go? She asked. Every day, I said. She considered me, head tilted, reading the margin notes of my face. You're doing beautifully, she said, and that simple certainty laced my ribs together in a way that felt both new and necessary. Her invitations began as the kind the office knows how to grant. Want to practice the pitch at lunch? There's sunlight on the 5th floor. We could work there. Then a Friday text. Ladies open mic at the Blue Finch. I have an excellent sense of humor and a terrible singing voice. Save me? I stared at the blue bubble like it was asking more than an evening. The truth is, cross-dressing had always been a private harbor for me, an inland sea I visited when the world felt too loud. I had lovely heels that knew the shape of my ankles, a navy wrap dress dotted with rosebuds that made me stand up straighter, but those belonged to the hours after blinds were drawn. Her text put a different possibility at the edge of the map. Before I could think not to, I wrote back yes. The Blue Finch lived down a narrow stair in a brick building with a neon sign that threw pink and electric blue into the alley until it looked like aquarium water. Inside, laughter stitched the room together. 2 mics waited on a low stage, haloed by a circular sign that hummed like a planet. Claire wore a simple black dress, elegant as a clear idea. She leaned close to speak over the music, and her citrus shampoo found me. We do not have to sing, she said. We can just clap very enthusiastically for the brave. I swallowed, the familiar thrum in my chest that arrives when 2 versions of myself are arguing. She must have seen it. We can also be brave on purpose, she added gently. In the soft light of the restroom, I opened my tote and laid out the small kit I had smuggled from home like a secret picnic. The wrap dress, a pair of tights, low black heels, a compact with the mirror I trusted. My hands shook, but only a little. I've dressed 1,000 times alone. The body learns what it loves. Tonight, though, I felt like the air had made a promise to hold me up. I drew liner with the patience I save for delicate things, touched color to my mouth. And when I stood, I thought, you still look like yourself, just closer to the version you hum when no one is listening. When I stepped out, Claire was waiting by the bar, eyes soft and bright at once. She looked at me the way a person looks at a landscape they've wanted to see up close. Hi, she said, like the word had been upgraded. Hi, I managed, the word a breath wrapped in silk. You look like the story you've been hinting at, she said. The band swung into a slower song. Sing with me, she asked. I nodded. On stage, our shadows stretched toward the front row, taller than we were, braver by an inch or 2. Claire took the mic and said, We're here to prove courage can be off-key. The room applauded the idea of it. We sang not well, but with an honest joy that made the notes better than tune. During the chorus, her fingers slipped into mine, steady, present, asking nothing, but giving everything. The warmth of her palm quieted every frantic muth winging around inside my chest. We danced afterward, the simplest sway, my heels keeping time like they'd been waiting for this floor. I kept my touch respectful, listening to her body's comfort the way you listen for surf in a shell. She leaned closer, cheek near mine, and said, "There you are." It should have spooked me, being seen so clearly. Instead, it felt like a door opening in a room I hadn't realized was small. The weeks that followed became a braid of public and private seasons. At work, we were a seam, straight and dependable, moving in parallel, our talk a mix of revenue forecasts and jokes that made hallways shorter. She had a way of brushing the edge of my notebook when I overthought, a small tactile reminder to breathe. Outside work, we learned each other's currencies, the exactness of her baking, the part of me that calms when a dress hangs right, the way we both like light to pool in corners. On a September evening, we sat on my back deck with wine that glowed like garnets. Rain earlier had left the boards warm and crickets fiddled in the hedges. Claire folded one leg under and asked, "Tell me something that scares you so I know how to stand next to it." "Being misread," I said, and the words loosened something across my shoulders. "That someone will see a costume where I feel a truth." She looked at me like a good mirror looks, reflecting without distorting. "I don't see a disguise," she said. "I see detail. I see care." A breeze lifted the edge of the tablecloth, and I could have cried from the relief of it. I told her about firsts. The first time I walked a night quiet block in a dress, the first time I caught my own reflection and didn't brace, the first time someone in a shop said, "Can I help you find your size?" with kindness that rang all the way to my feet. I told her small griefs too. The jokes I laughed at once and now can't find funny, the friend who ghosted me when I gently told the truth. Claire listened with the patience of someone learning the choreography to a song they already love. "You carry tenderness like strength," she said, and it felt like being given both a blanket and a sword. We grew bolder by degrees. One Saturday morning, we went downtown to a quiet boutique with pale wood floors and dressing rooms that sighed shut. The saleswoman, eyes kind, bracelets chiming, brought us a stack of possibilities. In the mirror, I met myself with Claire at my shoulder, and the mirror flinched less than ever. A cobalt dress pulled light to my face like a tide. A soft cream skater dress gentled me until I looked like I'd been stirred into tea. Claire emerged in a blue dress that made her look like she'd been painted by certainty. "If I wear this to the office, will you help me be brave?" she asked. "Yes," I said, already imagining a tie on Monday, the exact shade of her dress, a secret harmony. That night, we ate dinner at my small table. 3 patient candles stood like witnesses. Garlic and thyme made the kitchen smell like home had a recipe. We touched glasses, and the ring they made hovered in the air like a promise. We ate slowly. After, we didn't immediately clear the plates. Some mess deserves a moment of admiration. Sitting side by side on the couch, shoulders grazing, we let the quiet expand until it felt like a room made only of consent. She threaded her fingers through mine and waited. I turned, giving her time to change her mind. She didn't. Our first kiss felt less like fireworks and more like stepping into warm rain after the ache of a dry season. Gentle, thorough, soaking into my guard until it loosened. When we parted, foreheads resting together, she whispered, "We go as slowly as you want." Slowness, I learned, can be a luxury. Work kept spinning. We gave the big pitch and walked out of the office into a late afternoon honeyed light that made the row of cars look newly minted. "You looked like all your edges were on purpose," she said, and I caught my reflection in a window. Plain suit, careful tie, and smiled because she was seeing the whole of me, the man and the part of me that glows when satin whispers across my knees. "You make it easier to be the full sentence," I said. In the parking lot, we paused, the sun warm on our sleeves, people around us, and she reached for my hand and squeezed once, brief but sure. "Me too," she said, and it mattered that she said it right there, in daylight, with witnesses who didn't know they were witnessing. Autumn slipped a cool hand beneath Summer's shirt, and we practiced honesty. I tend to overtalk when I'm anxious. She gets quiet and thinks in beautiful circles. We learn to ask each other to the middle. On rough days, after a stray comment in a hallway stuck to me like burrs, she appeared at my office door at 5:30 with a look that meant porch-wine. Out there, the sky darkening in slow bands, and the neighbor's dog offering a single declarative bark, she let me unwind the knots by naming them. She didn't try to fix what wasn't hers to fix. She offered steadiness, which is its own kind of medicine. We returned to the Blue Finch often, not always for the mic, sometimes just for the belonging of a room humming in friendly colors. We danced with the casual intimacy of people who have practiced listening. When the song asked for closeness, I asked with my hands and waited for her yes. Sometimes she tucked her chin near my temple, and I let myself rest there, which is a bigger bravery than I knew. In the soft light, the world blurred to shapes, and we became the most in-focus thing. The night the boutique restocked, we wandered in again as if drawn. I tried a rose dress that skimmed my knees and made my legs feel like they'd been built for this exact hemline. Claire came out of another stall in a sapphire flare, and we faced each other before the mirror, our hands almost touching, our smiles not posed so much as exhaled. The saleswoman gave a half thumbs up and drifted away. "You look like yourself, ringing true," Claire said. I told her she looked like the word yes in a language I didn't know I spoke. We bought both dresses and wore them to a quiet dinner at my place. The cloth moved when we breathed. The candles leaned toward the middle as if straining to hear our plans. On a sun-washed Monday, we walked from the parking lot to the office with a synchronized stride that felt like a shared secret. I wore my usual suit, but underneath my slacks, a pair of sheer tights grazed my skin, a private corridor of comfort. I don't always need it, but sometimes it's the bridge that gets me from morning to noon without white-knuckling. Knowing they were there, invisible and undeniably real, steadied me. Claire glanced over and smiled, not because she knew, but because she knew me. And the difference mattered. We tried new things the way kids test a lake with their toes, carefully, laughing when it's colder than expected. A cooking class where we nearly caramelized the pan into sculpture. A pottery workshop where my lopsided bowl looked like it had survived weather and learned grace from it. Sunday mornings at the farmer's market where peaches carried July in their skin and dahlias unfurled layers like secret rooms. She chose flowers. I chose tomatoes shaped like small hearts. We walked home with our fingers laced, the bouquet brushing my arm like a cat. One evening, we traded the city's noise for a softer soundtrack. We set the table again, ate slowly, and afterward leaned back with our chairs at the careless angle of people at peace. "What do you want from the next year?" she asked, candlelight making a cathedral out of the room. I let the question warm my palms like a mug. "I want to keep building a life that fits all my facets," I said. "I want to stop apologizing to rooms that haven't earned it. I want to wear what steadies me and love what steadies us." She nodded, eyes shining. "I want to be here for that. Here, specifically. The porch, the stage, the aisle with the dresses, the quiet after the day." We kissed, soft as yes. Winter dusted the sidewalks like confectioner's sugar. We ordered pizza and watched flakes slow the world until it looked like a patient dream. She leaned her head on my shoulder, and I traced the constellation of her knuckles with my thumb. "We should sing again soon," she murmured, sleepy with contentment. "Harmonies this time?" I asked. "Only if we promise to laugh when we miss," she said. "Always," I answered, and meant more than music. People sometimes ask how a story like ours begins, and I think of two beginnings. The elevator with the smell of coffee, and the way her voice sounded like weather I'd been waiting for. And the restroom at the Blue Finch where I tied the wrap of a dress and decided to step into the light anyway. But the truer beginning is ongoing. It's in how we keep choosing the ordinary brave things. Singing badly on purpose. Dancing like the room is an ally. Trying on dresses under warm lights and recognizing ourselves. Walking to the office with a practiced stride, carrying secret comforts that don't owe anyone an explanation. Meeting on a porch with 2 glasses of garnet wine and giving our nerves names so they can loosen. Tonight we'll leave the office and push through the glass doors into air that smells faintly of rain. She'll tilt her head toward the street that leads to the Blue Finch, and I'll feel that small electricity travel down my legs like a good hemline. Maybe we'll sing. Maybe we'll just sway and let the room be our chorus. Maybe we'll go home and light 3 stubborn candles and eat too late. Wherever we end up, it will be ours. The neon halo on our unsure heads, the soft clink of glass, the hush that follows an honest sentence, the way our hands find one another without announcement. She told me once, "You look most yourself when you let your details show." I tell her often, "You make room for them." We are not perfect, not interested in it. We are careful and learning and a little ridiculous, off-key and on purpose. If anyone asks for an instruction manual, I'll hand them a list of small things. Bring a brave dress in a tote bag and the courage to wear it. Choose a song you'll laugh your way through. Keep a bottle of red for evenings when the sky needs a little help. Let kindness be the mirror you stand in front of. Kiss like warm rain after a stubborn dry day. Walk side by side wherever you're going, even if it's just across a parking lot bathed in gold. Keep choosing, and the hum that starts in your chest will become a melody you can carry anywhere.